Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
So we were talking about one of the thing, the first thing that is there, that is governance. Okay. Now let us talk from the perspective of you are, as you mentioned, right? You are moving your whole infrastructure is moving from on-prem to cloud, right? Yeah, in your organization. Now, from the perspective of that, okay. Now, so you have an on-prem thing that is there already, and then you are moving to cloud. From that perspective, for cloud, why governance has such a significance that this is the first chapter, this is the first topic of this whole syllabus? What is the reason behind it? Can you tell me from that perspective?
I believe most of them are, having a concern on that security about their data, all those things. So that's the reason they kept the first topic, I believe. Yeah, to clear out doubt.
Security data. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, before you start any infrastructure, right, you have to start with that goal in mind. How you're gonna, secure it, or how you're gonna manage it, and everything. So all these things will come into this picture. You can't build and you can think about security. You have to, like, from the beginning you need to think about.
Okay, fine. Okay. Now let us see, means overall, when you say about your current scenario.
Kun, once again, this meeting is recorded, or?
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, I think I heard that notification being recorded.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so overall, let us talk from that perspective. Okay, so basically what I will focus on is that where you are exactly, and from that perspective we will talk governance, and then we will have that. So now, in your current situation when you are on prem, okay, so what is the case here? That you you as a user, right, and you want to use the infrastructure resources like machines and all, right? So for that, what you need to do is that there is another guy, another actor, and this guy is your IT administrator. Okay, so this guy is your admin here. So this guy is the admin guy. Okay, and you are the user here. Okay, so you are the user, this actor is an admin, and now your resources, your machines are like this. Okay, so it is like here you have your, you can say, a server, and you get a space there. When we talk about a virtual space maybe, or you have the different machines that are there. Okay, so this guy is between you, okay, and the resources. Okay, and this guy, what you do, how you communicate with this guy, that you send you can say mail maybe to this guy, or you have some internal system, right, like Snow or something. You raise a request, right, and you have some role associated, you are part of some team, right? So this guy, because he is internal to the organization and all the systems which is there through which you access for the resources is internal to that, and the size overall that this guy is manages, it scope of this admin is your organization only. That is the reason why the management of the resources is limited, is similar to the way the other management practices happened in an organization, like similar to the way when the way people is managed, similar to that way only the resources are managed. Okay, why? Because the scope is limited, number one, and then there is a kind of, you can say uh, you can say a manual intervention involved always, right? In any organizations there are manual interventions, they are there. So now when you talk about a cloud, right, when you say cloud here, right, now the cloud is there. Now you go to the cloud, now you need resources to that. Now this doesn't have any manual, right? This doesn't have any manual intervention. There is no one who is manually checking it for you, right? And you go to, say Azure, you log into that, and then uh, if it is open, then you can use any number of resources, anything like that, if there is no governance, because there is no personal intervention that is there that is stopping you. And that is the reason why the way this governance has to happen, there has to be special focus on governance, and that should be the part of, you can say, part of Azure overall, these practices and all, because that is important. Otherwise um, there are chances that resources are getting misutilized, there are chances that cost will be unlimited, and so on so forth. Yeah, there will be security and all, multiple things. And the second thing is, when I don't know, you have attempted AZ-900 overall, but in general when we talk about Azure, we talked about shared responsibility, right? So Microsoft has some responsibility for the resources. He makes sure that regarding the resource availability, downtime, make sure that there will be almost negligible downtime, and so on and so forth. And it will provide you all the kind of tools overall. With that, you can, make sure to have the setup the way that you need. Okay, but at the same time it gives you responsibility to do that, right? So overall, that is the reason why governance coming up as the first thing overall, and it has multiple aspects. Okay, so they talk about security, organization standard, multiple teams are working, multiple subscription to manage, multiple things are there, right? And all those things has to be, one of the important thing is that we need to make sure that there is limited or no manual intervention in the whole process. Okay, clear? This point is clear to you guys? Why governance, why this is important, why? I mean, this is the first thing, right? Why this is the first topic when you say about Azure architect course. This is the first thing, and this is the reason behind it. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Kunal.
Okay, fine. Now, so what they have done, let us, I will just have a quick, I will not like to spend more time on that. We will just have to have a go through on the overall things, and I will try to find out some scenarios that is related to you, and we will discuss about it. What they are saying is that there is a company, and they are, they are thinking about Azure, right? And what they are saying is that it's difficult to manage Azure environment and cost, and they are interested in, like, what are the things that Azure does. Okay, so when this is the first thing that came into any company's mind, that okay, I want to implement it. How to make sure that my environment is going to be secure, my cost will be in control, because there are so many employees. So now this is the thing. Then when Microsoft goes to them, this is the first thing that is being asked by the management, and who is deciding it, that okay, what you are providing, okay, for that. So the ease is important. So in this module they talked about governance, management group, subscription, and all those stuff. So let us move further on that. So what are the things that is there? What is the management design and all? Okay, let me go back to the diagram. So overall, when you see here, okay, so overall the lowest level, and this may be the repetition or something, but overall, yes, this is important. We will be quickly going through it, because this is getting talked about throughout as part of uh, your this management. What are the different components of management? Okay, the lowest level is resources. Okay, so this is the lowest level. This has the virtual machine, this has the databases in
No,
general. Yeah, hello, hello, am I audible?
sorry, sorry, Kun, it was me.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay, okay, so when we talk about the now what is going to be managed, okay, we talked about, okay, we are going to manage. What to manage? What is the real world entity there? When we talk about a cloud services, or even your you can say on-prem, what is the real world entity? Real world entity are the resources, right? Your database server, your your machines, your system, right, that you are using, the hard drive, all those stuff, your network card, all these things are part of the resources, right? This all consist of that. So when we say that what you need to focus on is this, the resources. Okay, so in whole this cycle, whole this, you can say, graph, overall diagram, or the actors which are there, the real world entities are resources. Okay, and then you have resource groups. Okay, so overall, you might be aware, you might be knowing that within a resource group has one or more resources. Okay, so it's a what is resource group? It is a combination of resources overall. What is important here is that one resource cannot be part of two different resource groups. Okay, that is one thing that is important. Okay, we will see to this particular thing, but overall, what can happen that, okay, with different resources are part of resource groups, or can be part of the resource groups that are there. So this is the, you can say, first level, then this is the second level. Okay, now what is subscription overall in whole Azure? When you talk about billing, when you talk about cost, it is managed by subscription. Okay, your management group or resource group or your tenant group or resources in general is not something that is going to directly uh, you know uh, be managed as far as cost is concerned. Okay, so subscription, even you have the management group or tenant, so whatever we have used for the management purposes, overall the billing is managed by subscription. Okay, and then there are management groups under which different subscription are part of that. Do you guys know that what is the maximum level that a management group can have? So as for example, this is a hierarchy that there is a one management group. Within that, there are several other management group. So you can have an hierarchy of management groups. Okay.
No, I
Okay.
didn't.
Okay.
No.
Okay. 6 level of hierarchy is possible for management group. Okay.
Mhm.
And this is something that has hierarchy involved here. We will talk about it. But overall, and then there are Azure policies. Okay. Azure policies and practices, and then RBAC, role-based access control. Now, what RBAC is? Have you ever used? Can you give example of RBAC? What it is basically, from the terminologies of access. What RBAC means? Can you tell?
I mean, based on the admin role, like some people are only read-only, like for monitoring. Some people are admin who has full access. Some people have access only to specific resources or ability to modify only certain resources.
Correct.
So,
Absolutely.
so there is a
So
user, and then you assign a role to it, which gives specific rights.
correct.
So,
What
I have
that?
one question
Yeah.
about the subscription. So subscription are the billing units, right? On
Billing
which
units.
Azure bills you. So let's
Correct.
say I have a big organization, or maybe a medium-sized one, okay? And like instead of organizing it through subscription, why can't I have like one subscription, but then I create multiple resource group. Now, though under those resource groups, I'm organizing maybe my business units and all. Like, why would I want to have multiple subscription? Maybe I'm able to manage billing at, let's say I have only one subscription for my whole company. And then under that, I have resource group based for each application or each business unit.
Mm.
And, like that, I have resources under them.
Correct.
So what benefit would I get like if I have multiple subscription? Do you think it's because, maybe I don't know, yeah.
Yeah.
What would be the reason I
Correct.
want to have multiple?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So overall, right. So there are in an IT organization. Okay. There are different kind of IT needs within different department. Okay. And all the departments work separately, right? It's like HR is one department. Maybe you have the cloud services, means DevOps, cloud services team, or infra team is one department. Different department has different kind of IT needs. As for example, the kind of devices that you need as a software developer is not needed by someone who is an HR guy. As for example, in my organization, I have minimum 2 systems, right? When I go to my workspace, one is my workspace. In my workspace, I cannot install softwares and all. Okay, we are very limited. Okay, I cannot do my programming there. Okay, so what I get is I have a subscription, maybe in all the, you can say, developers have a subscription access to that we have a developer desktop. Okay, so it's Azure virtual machine that we get, and and there is a cost involved, definitely, per day, maybe whatever they cost, maybe monthly 6,000 or 7,000, that cost to them. Now that need is not there for HR team. Okay, so that budgeting is not needed for them, maybe. So overall, you need to bifurcate your budget, otherwise it will be kind of unmanaged kind of stuff, where the cost is going and where you need to spend more on IT infrastructure, where you need to spend less on our IT infrastructure. So for that perspective, you need to have a kind of that. And right, different department has, if it is a big organization, as you mentioned, different department has different budgets. It has different budget for IT, it has different budget for people, it has different budgets for different stuffs, right? So that's why the subscription is there, because overall organization works in this way. Not only that, even in IT, within an IT there can be different teams which has different kind of resource requirements. How we will manage it, how we will manage the cost out of it, and that is the
So
reason
this
why.
is like purely from the cost management perspective. You
Purely
can
from the
track it.
cost, that's correct. Exactly.
Okay. So let's say like
Yeah,
if cost is not a concern here, then I can maybe have like multiple like not because then I can only have one management group, right? Because under that there's only one subscription. But I can have multiple resource groups and allow to manage it that way. Okay.
uh, we cannot say that cost is means it's not possible, right? Cost is always a
Okay.
concern, number one, because you see, resource can be misutilized, maybe, as for example, say I today I was taking a session on Kubernetes cluster, okay, and within that I created 10 different virtual machines and all. Now if cost is the not means, if I will, if the management is not there, because it is personal, because so there is no management or something, no setup is there, I have used it for demo. But if I will leave it whole day, I'm not, I have taken that session in the morning and done it for 2 hours, after that I don't need those 10 virtual machine. If I will not kill it overall, or if you will not have a kind of a setup where, if from in my case I'm killing it manually, but organization cannot manage like that, okay? So think from that perspective, that 10 devices unnecessarily getting used for 10-12 hours, and it is pay per go. At the end of the day, my billing is say $100, right? uh,
Mhm.
and there will be impact on that, right? So overall, yes, cost is always a concern, uh, or even not, right? Why organization will spend on unnecessarily spend on machines which is misused? Instead of that, it will use the same amount of money to pay you, right? It
Right.
cannot be open ended, right? So if it is in the market, it is there for that. So definitely it is in the business, cost is going to be the concern, and it is needed to be make sure that in comparison to now what is the things that happen. The second thing, in your current scenario, you are moving from on-prem to cloud. When you will talk about cost benefit analysis, when you will talk about ROI, you have this figure definitely will come in mind, that is cost benefit analysis. What is cost we are spending? We were there in uh, our own on-prem thing, and if the cost is much more in cloud, why we will use it? We will go to the on-prem way, because there is more control, obviously there is more security, obviously. You
Hmm.
cannot on-prem is much more secure. Why you are moving to that? Why? Because it has more flexibility, and then you need to think about pay as you go. You can shut down the things. It can be shared across multiple things are there, and that is the reason why you are moving to cloud. So yes, overall, hope
Yeah.
this
okay.
answers, right? Overall.
Yeah.
uh,
This does. Yeah. Thank you.
okay,
Kunz,
fine.
I have seen that there are separate subscription for dev environment, separate for prod environment. Can't we mix, or why they are keeping like that? I understand that. Okay, dev licensing is half the price of that production license, I mean production usage. Can you give some details about it?
Yeah, sure. So overall, right, when I talked about that in my organization, we have a developer desktop, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot do my development on my workspace where I work, right? So
Mm-hmm.
overall, I go to Azure. I need to spin up a virtual machine there. For that, which is allocated to me. So only one virtual machine is allocated to me for now, right? Apart from my workspace. And for that, I have to do. Well, we will talk about that multiple things overall. Overall, the question is that at the end of the day, okay, the virtual machine goes down. There is a regular refresh, okay, and either I have to automatically it goes down by 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, whatever the time they have, it goes down. And why? Because it's like it's the end of the day in general, and organization thinks that I should not be working post that, I may not be working post that. Yes, I can spin up again, but it goes down on daily basis. Now, can this happen with production system? No, right? It has to be running 24/7, right? Think about a kind of a mission critical system. Any production, it is a production, it has to be 24/7. So overall, when you talk about that, you have a valid reason for higher cost. Why? Because it needs to be up and running always. Okay. It has a kind of a consistency. Okay. In comparison to that, development environment can go down after the office hours. Maybe it can go down. There is no impact on that, right? Because it doesn't need to be up and running always. So there are different kind of needs, right? And that's why for different needs, and it's like, yes, you have seen this case, this happens somewhere, this doesn't happen somewhere, but this is one of the reason why there are separate kind of subscription for dev, for prod, for test. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it means
Raj,
you can mix all the environment in one, but it's not recommended to have, correct?
Yep. It's when we talk about this, policies and principles, right? If and that is the reason why they don't have a kind of strict adherence or guidelines, or otherwise Azure would have done it. So there is nothing like strict on that. There is nothing like one size fit all kind of thing here. Yes, there are some suggestions and all based on your needs. As for example, you have a small team of say 100 people. In that case, you can work with one subscription always, right? Because even developers and machines are like 30, 40, or maybe 5, 6, 7, whatever. It depends upon your project. And there is only one production system across. Okay. So in those cases, you can have one subscription for all, maybe. uh, and maybe in a case when you have a very big organization, there are 20, 30 different teams in one project, and they are working separately, they are clubbing together, they work across the geographical time zone, that your development is going on 24/7. In those cases, your need and your production needs are kind of same, right? The example that I provided, that okay, development system will not be needed post working hour, but that is not true. When you have developer in India, you have developer in America, you have developer in say in Hong Kong. In those cases, your development is going on 24/7, and that's what that happens in real world, right? So in those cases, if you have a kind of a squeeze team, not that big team, but all are working 24/7, maybe across the board, across the world, in that cases you may have same subscription. So it entirely depends upon your organization, and that's why architecture comes into picture, right? That's why we are having a session on DevOps, means what you need to do in this particular situation, and that's why we will have different kind of case studies. We will see to it that okay, what you will do in this case, what kind of strategy you will take in this case. If this is the scenario, what you will do. So yes, the answer to your question is, it varies. Yes, across the board, there is no hard line rule that is there. Yes, the best practices are there, but it varies from organization to organization.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
So Raj, you were referring to the dev one. You were referring to dev test lab, or you just referring to a subscription which developers are using?
No, when we go to Azure Calculator, there is an option when we check that this is for development, and the cost will be reduced. That means the SLA also get reduced, and so that's why I'm asking that.
Okay, because there's a service called Azure Dev Test Lab. So, okay, maybe that is the one. Okay.
No, not that one. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, so overall we talked about that. So there are management groups. So you manage access policy and compliance for multiple subscription. Then subscription logical container. Okay, so it's a container. What it does, that management in scale.
To watch our complete session, enroll for our premium membership. Click onto the join button and enroll yourself with the best suited option.
Are billing boundaries. Okay, so that is very important term, that when subscription it has its billing overall. And the second thing, it is a container. Why? Because all the resources comes under that container, comes under that subscription. That is the reason why. Your resource group are logical containers which Azure resources are deployed and managed. So it has its thing. So this is the next thing, and resource is the smallest unit. We talked about it, like your virtual machine, your resources, your database and all. So this thing we have done. One thing that is important that will come out from this particular thing, the tenant group is the kind of, whenever you and your organization purchases Azure, takes Azure as a service, that top level, there is tenant root group. It is kind of organization level, and there will be only one tenant root group. Okay, so your organization is a tenant. So this is the first thing that will happen, that there will be a tenant root group that will be there. Okay, so everything will come within that. Okay, anyways, let us talk about that. So within that tenant root group, there are management groups. Okay, so basically, as the name suggests, right, this is the kind of, when we talk about governance, right, the biggest role that anything that comes that plays is the management group. Okay, so when we talk about governance, the most important, according to me, that is your, you can say, management group. So all the policies and everything is kind of that. Okay, so and it has, this management group has, you can say, parent, you can say what is called inheritance property in general. Okay, so the child inherits all the policies and everything that is there from the parent. And as we mentioned, as for example here, this management group has its policy, and within management group there can be multiple other management group. Okay, so whoever is the parent or child within this will inherit all those policies, all those rules associated with its parents. So overall child, there is an inheritance property associated with this, in Azure. So all the child, in any case, in general, child is we inherit all the policies of the parent overall. This thing we mentioned, that this has 6 level of depth. Okay, excluding the root level. Okay, and by default, and when you say the subscription, so by default, when you say default case, your subscription will be the part of the root, root management group. So subscription can be directly part of this particular management group overall. So yes, we talked about best practices, and these are, you can say, things to consider when creating management groups. So overall, these are the, you can say, kind of guidelines or something when we will create a management group. Okay, so the first thing is that the governance, the way your, overall your governance is going to happen. And as I mentioned, this is a kind of a main building block as far as governance is concerned. Okay, uh, so they have mentioned, hierarchy, though it provides 6 level of hierarchy in management group, but think about how complex things will become if it will have 6 level of hierarchy. Okay, so that is the reason why they say that, okay, make it flat, maximum 2 level or 3 level of hierarchy that should be there. Okay, so that it will be easier to manage. That's okay, they mentioned about that. I think it will be kind of, overall you got an idea about it, go through it. overall, the conceptually, these are the things that is there as part of the management group overall. Let us move to the design of subscription. Yeah, not that much that we will spend time. Okay. So now this is the point that you talked about, perhaps
Yeah.
Raj talked. So this is right. You say that there is a dev subscription, and then there is a test subscription, and there is a production subscription, right? So these are kind of different ways the subscription are getting managed. And one of the thing that, as you mentioned, there are different billing environment, right? Like development, test, and production. So it is based on the environment, or subscription can be based on the, you can say, organizational unit, like HR for sales. Different teams has different subscription limit, and we discussed about this point as well, right? That why why there is no uh, there is a need of why we will not go for one subscription. Okay, so there can be subscription at this, you can have. And again, the policies, you can have the policies at the subscription level as well. Okay, so basically why policy is there? Because uh, of the, you can say, managing it well, kind of, right? So overall, that is the reason why at different level you can have the policies associated with it. Okay, and they again, there is a kind of things that we can consider during the, what are the best practices, or based on your need, what you are going to do. So these are the best practices that they talk about. Okay, like as for example, uh, you have a department, as for example, it's working on GitLab, as for example, right? And you have a different kind of, you have a running runners. You will need to run your continuously, you will need runners to run your pipeline overall. So you need the different kind of, you can say, policies there, right? So up and running based on that, so based on your infrastructure need and all that, so you will have your policy associated in that way. Okay, so as for example, there can be a shared subscription, right? uh, Across the network. As for example, you can say virtual network, and through that you want to create a kind of your all the within the organization. Let us take an example. When I say that I have a machine workspace to which I log into my to my working environment. Now this thing is a common across, right? Because all the employees of my organization will need a workspace, right? And because of this COVID thing, we all are on cloud. So we have a kind of a one machine allocated to all of us 24/7, where we will be logging into the uh, our organization's network. And it is a kind of a virtual network across the board for whole the organization. And at the same time, that has to be up and running always, because it is across. Now for these kind of scenarios, you need to have a shared subscription. You cannot make it department wise, that okay, for this department, for all department you need one machine for the resources to work on. So these kind of resources will be kind of directly come as a root, maybe, in this particular case, right? And then here it will come directly, and then you will have all those these kind of shared resources will be part of this subscription. So that is what that is that can happen. So
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.